So, hi, I'm Rosanna Linha from IT2103. So, welcome to my channel. So, first, from this chapter, which is activity number 1. So, part 1, security threats and vulnerabilities. So, the instruction, read the security threats and vulnerability scenarios, drag each scenario to its corresponding type of security threat. So, as we read from the NetAcad and learning from this Cisco, we already discussed this from the previous chapters. So if you're really reading, so you will be easily understand this, and you will easily answer this type of activity. So let's start. So from this first scenario, which is sending a virus to reformat a hard drive. So I think because you are sending a virus to reformat a hard drive, this is for the data loss manipulation. So the next one is the altering data records, which is also for this data loss manipulation because you are altering data records. Then the next one is the preventing legal users from accessing data services, which is this scenario is for this security threat, which is disruption of service. Then the next one is the stealing scientific research report. So from the word stealing, I think it is for the information theft because you're stealing some reports, some research reports from the owner. So the next one is stealing a company's user database. So from the word stealing also, from here, this stands for information theft because you are stealing a company user database. So the next one is the overloading a network to keep users out. So from this word overloading a network, I think it is for the disruption of service. Then the next one is the making illegal online purchases for the identity theft, and from the impersonating someone to obtain credit. So I will briefly explain this to you. So first, stealing from someone's or stealing a research report and stealing a user database is a kind of information thief because you're stealing someone's information that they don't know. You're stealing something from them. Then from the identity thief, which is you're making illegal online purchases which is not valid to purchase. Then impersonating someone to obtain credit. Then from the data loss manipulation, which is you are sending a virus to reformat a hard drive and you are altering data from records. And the second one, which is the disruption of service, which is you're preventing legal users from accessing data services and you're overloading a network to keep users out. So let's check if it's correct. Then all of this is correct, so let's proceed to the next activity, which is the part 2, security threats and vulnerabilities. So, same as the first activity, we have to answer this. So, in this table, we have here an hardware, environmental, electrical, and maintenance. So, we have to drag each management practice to the appropriate security management type. So, for the hardware, I think the first one is use security cameras. Because using security cameras is for hardware. Using for hardware. Then, the next one is the lookup device to prevent unauthorized access. The next one is this label critical cables and components, which is it is belong for this maintenance because you are labeling critical cables and components. Then the next one is the control temperature and humidity, which is for environmental because you are controlling temperature and humidity. Then the next one is the control access to console ports, which is included from the maintenance because you are assessing to console ports. Then the next one is the create positive airflow, which is for environmental. The next one is the install redundant power supplies, which is relies from electrical. Then also the install UPS system. So hardware from the scenario, it use security cameras, lookup device to prevent unauthorized process, and from the scenario control temperature and humidity, which is belong to the environmental. Then from the scenario install redundant power supplies and install UPS system, which is included from the electrical management. Then the scenario label critical cables and components and control access to console ports, which is for the maintenance. So let's check. So all of all of my answers are correct. So let's proceed from the next activity, which is so the next activity from the chapter 11 was the activity types of attacks. So instruction, determine the types of security attacks and the attacks described. Then drag each security attacks type to its scenario. So as the chapters goes by, we all know what is the meaning of this. So I will briefly explain to you what is the meaning of these kinds of attacks. So first, from the word worm. So a computer worm is a type of malware that spreads copies of itself from computer to computer. So a worm can replicate itself without any human interaction, and it does not need to attach itself to a software program in order to cause damage. The next one is the access. So the access is simply by being able to get to what you need. So the data access is being able to get to usually having permission to use or particular data on a computer. So the web access means having a connection to the World Wide Web through an access provider or an online service provider. So the next one is the virus, or a computer virus is a malicious software program loaded onto users computer without the user's knowledge and performs the malicious actions, so it can self-replicate, inserting itself onto another programs or files, infecting them into process. So not all computer viruses are destructive through. The next one is the Trojan horse. So a Trojan horse or a Trojan is a type of malware that is often disguised as legitimate software, and the Trojans can be employed by the cyber thieves and hackers trying to gain access to user system. So the users are typically tricked by some form of social engineering into loading and executing Trojans on their systems. The next one is the reconnaissance or reconnaissance. So reconnaissance is a type of computer attack in which an intruder engages with the targeted system to gather information about the vulnerabilities. So the attacker first discovers any vulnerable ports by using software like port scanning. The last one is the denial of service attack or the DOS attack. So DOS is a cyber attack in which the perpetrator perpetrator seeks to make a machine or network resource unavailable to its intended users by temporarily or indefinitely disrupting services of a host connected to the internet. So after discussing to you what is the meaning of these attacks, security attacks, let's proceed to answer this scenario. So let's proceed in answering this scenario. So first, a computer is used as a print server for ACME Incorporation. The IT staff failed to apply security updates to this computer for over 60 days. Now the print service is operating slowly and sending a high amount of malicious packets to its NIC. So from this scenario, the attack type for this is worm. Worm because he is operating slowly and sending a high amount of malicious packets to its NIC because he is not able to update the computer for 60 days. So the next scenario, which is the Sharon, an IT intern at ACME Incorporation, noticed some strange packets while revising the security logs generated by the firewall. A handful of IP addresses on the internet were sending malformed packets to several different IP addresses at several different random port numbers inside the ACME Incorporation. So the attack type for this is reconnaissance. So let's check if it's correct. It's correct. Then let's proceed to the other, which is the figure 2. Same as the figure 1. So from this scenario, Jeremy was browsing the internet from this personal computer when a random website offered a free program to clean his system. After downloading and running the executable, the operating system crashed. Crucial operating system related files had been corrupted, and Jeremiah's computer required a full disk format and operating system reinstallation. The attack type for this scenario was the virus because he was able to he clicked some malicious website that offered from the program to clean his system. So after he download that and execute the that malicious website, crucial operating system related file has been corrupted and Jeremiah's computer was required a full disk format. So this scenario stands for the attack type virus. Then the next scenario was the Ariana found a flash drive lying on the pavement of a mall parking lot. In the parking lot, she asked around but couldn't find the owner. She decided to keep it and plug it to her laptop, only to find a photo folder. Feeling curious, Ariana opened a few photos before formatting the flash drive for her own use. Afterwards, Ariana noticed that her laptop camera was active. So, from this kind of scenario, this scenario stands for the attack type Trojan horse. Because when you use the flash drive that you've seen from the parking lot and you plug that flash drive from your laptop, the camera was automatically active. So it's stand for the attack type Trojan horse. So let's check if it's correct. It's correct. Then let's proceed to the other activity, which is same as the second one. Then the first scenario was the Angela, an IT staff member at ACM Incorporation, noticed that communication with the company web server is very slow. Then response is due to a computer on the internet sending a very large number of malformed web requests to ACM's web server. So this scenario stands for attack type denial of service or DOS. Then the last scenario from this activity is George needed to share a video with a coworker because the large size of the video file. He decided to run a simple FTP server on his workstation to serve the video file to his coworker. To make things easier, George created an account with a simple password file and provided it to his coworker on Friday. Without the proper security measure or a strong password, the IT staff wasn't surprised to learn on Monday that George's workstation has been compromised and was trying to upload work-related documents to the internet. So this scenario stands for the access attack type. So let's check if it's correct. So I think we can proceed to the next activity, which is so this is the next activity from the chapter 11, which is the show commands. So read and show command scenarios, then drag each show command to the field next to the appropriate scenario. So in this activity, we have here the show command and the show command scenario. So we have to read first this scenario before dragging the show command that that will that will that are correctly describe this scenario. So first, from the first scenario, command scenario, you suspect there is a problem with the current switch configuration and you want to see the saved configuration so that you can compare it to what is currently running. So for this command scenario, the show command for this is the show startup config. And from the next command scenario, which is you are all on a call with the Cisco technical assistant personnel and they ask you for the switch IOS name, RAM and VRAM and the flash available. They also ask for the hexadecimal boot location. So this is for the show command show version because because they are asking for you to switch for the switch of the iOS name. And the next one is you are running the EIGRP routing protocol and need to know the update intervals and what active interfaces and network are being advertised by your router. So from the word know the update intervals that was active interfaces and network are being advertised by your router. I think it is show up root. Then from the fourth one, that you cannot get to the internet, you need to find out if your router has a path to the internet and which protocols are being used to provide the paths. This stands for show command, show IP protocols. Then the next one is your network documentation really needs to be updated. So a quick listing of IP addresses of your routers in relation to their MAC addresses would help finish the task for recording purposes. So from the word recording purposes, a quick listing of the IP addresses of your routers in relation to their MAC addresses would help finish the task. So this stands for show command show ARP, and this is for the last. And for the show command show IP int brief means from this scenario, a switch is the closest intermediate device to you. So it has a 24 ports, so you want to see a simple list of the ports being used, so their status and the VLAN IP addresses of the switch. So let's check if it's correct. So it's all correct, so I think we can manage to go with the second with the next activity, which is so from the last activity for this chapter, which is the order and troubleshooting steps. So from the instruction, drag each steps to the field next to its appropriate description. So in this activity, we have here the steps and we have here the description. So we have to identify what is the first step, second step, third step, and the fourth step, fifth step, and the last one is the sixth step from this description. So let's start the answering. So from this step 1, which is we have to first identify the problem, and from the step 2, second from this step 1, which is we have to establish a theory of probable causes, and the step 3, which is we have to test the theory to determine the cause, and from the step 4, that we have to establish a plan of action to resolve the problem and implement the solution. And from the step 5, which is we have to verify full system functionality and implement preventive measures. And from the last one, which is the step 6, that we have to document findings, actions, and outcomes. So let's check if it's correct. So it's all correct. So step by step, we are able to identify all the step-by-step process of order from the troubleshooting steps. So I think that's all for this chapter. So thank you for watching.